it's a full house now. Gary is here. George Adder is here as well.
Roland.
Yeah. Plus Quarter.
Oh.
Good morning to you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning, great.
Yeah.
And we're here basically to talk about
the transfer window, which closes later tonight.
Yes, the transfer countdown show.
Yeah.
That's what we are calling it.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
It's on
First of all, let's address this. Last year, you were on Joy FM.
Radio.
And yes, and then you were here on TV. But this year, what's happening?
So we did that last year, that's 6 months ago, for one reason, because of timing issues. We're told by Joy FM that time was available from 8 p.m. till midnight.
Okay.
So we had to fill the air time.
That's right.
And here we had to do the JoyNews Prime, which ended at 9.
Okay.
And of course, JoyNews Prime does not move for anybody.
Yeah.
So because of that, we had to just take the decision to start the one on radio an hour before, and then the one on TV at 9 p.m.
Okay.
But this time, we've managed to convince everybody that we need to start at the same time. So it's 9 p.m. until midnight. That's
so 9 p.m. on TV, 9 p.m. on radio.
Yeah. It will be on
one
TV,
show. We're doing one show.
You'll hear what we are doing on
We'll be
TV.
syndicated at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Just like the elections.
Technically, they call it simulcasting.
Yes. Technically.
Okay, so now let's talk about who
Alexis
is going
Sanchez.
where. Like, what's the talking points?
Okay. So apart from the fact that Mama V will be moving tonight, by this time tomorrow, it should have moved to
Zalufo Media. Rolls Royce.
You heard it here first.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's the breaking news.
Yeah.
No,
Now,
Roland.
a
I
Porsche.
think it should be substitute my name.
Yeah.
A Cayenne, baby.
So apart from that, some players will be moving. I mean, we know that one of the big ones will be involving a Ghanaian, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And so that's what we'll be headlining the coverage with. Andrea, you may be moving tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He'll be going to his former team.
Yeah, West Ham to
Swansea.
Swansea City. Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about what has transpired
So far.
now, because it's been a January transfer window, a mid-season window. You first, give us some of the notable highlights you can find first in the English Premiership and the rest of Europe.
Yeah, I think this is a slightly different January transfer window, because normally in January things are so calm, players don't often move, but clearly the competition in the various leagues has triggered a lot of moves. We're seeing big time moves, like what Sanchez moved from Arsenal to Manchester United, that's big. Harry Mkhitaryan moving from Manchester United to Arsenal is big in itself. Only yesterday, America Laporte moving into Manchester City from Atletico Bilbao for £57 million. Now that's really big. We know that there are going to be other completed deals like what? Olivier Giroud moving. Remember that Coutinho moved from Liverpool to Barcelona. And all of this is happening really in January. It tells you that the competition is going so high and the coaches need to step up. We have not even spoken about the English Premier League teams from number 11 to 20. They are doing a whole lot. Tonight we'll have a lot of time to tell you what's happening there, but it's moves and moves and moves, even for Ghanaian players, even for our players. Majid Wyatt moved to FC Porto, David Akam, like the second highest deal there to Philadelphia. That's another big one. Baba Rahman moving into Schalke 04 for a loan. And we're looking at Didi Ayew, likely to move from West Ham to Swansea. I think the last thing we had yesterday was they're almost agreeing a fee of about 18 million, but I think Swansea want more. So
18 million what?
80 million pounds. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But he's worth it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know your pain. I know your pain. But it's great. It's great.
That look is the look of someone who feels that he's in the wrong profession.
I actually, I started feeling that way 5 years ago.
But what do you say that will be a good move?
Yeah, because I mean Swansea is where he made his name when he came to England, and so I mean if it's not,
and his brother is also doing well there. They just gotten out of the bottom 3, I'm told.
Right. And it's about playing time. Yeah. So if he's going to get playing time, why not?
He's not getting time.
Most were saying that Swansea are likely to be relegated, so don't go there. But I said, look, 10 teams can be relegated realistically, and they are doing well. They beat Liverpool, beat Arsenal, back to back.
But Gary, let's talk about mainland Europe, Germany. And Spain, France, Italy. What are some of the notable names being speculated?
Right. So the backdrop is that this is a different January transfer window, like he says, because it's the World Cup year. Yeah. Now, what happens is that all the top teams, two things: they don't want to lose their key players before the World Cup year, or they want to buy key players before the World Cup because If you wait till the World Cup, the player goes to the World Cup, has a good World Cup,
The
you can buy,
value
yes, the value shoot up. Or
That's a
if you
bad
have a
World
good
Cup.
player, he's not getting time, and you allow him to go for the World Cup and he doesn't do well, or he doesn't go for the World Cup, the value will go down. So it can be a profit or loss situation. That's why it seems like teams are really buying all across Europe. Right.
Gary,
yes.
Now I'm convinced you're in the wrong profession. You should be advising teams on purchases they have to make.
Yeah.
But we hear Aubameyang is probably also
Coming
making
to
a move.
Arsenal.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. I think it was spotted around the Arsenal training grounds yesterday.
All right.
So he's forcing his move, but just that it's
How
a
much is
triangle.
involved?
It's a triangle.
About $85 million.
$85 million.
Or 63 million pounds.
Hey!
Wow.
Yeah. And then that move actually would trigger a couple of things because Borussia Dortmund are holding up. They need a replacement. They say they want a replacement. Arsenal wanted to give them Olivier Giroud, but Olivier Giroud all of a sudden had a very good offer from Chelsea, and he wants to move to Chelsea. So Chelsea tell
So it's
Borussia
likely
Dortmund,
he may go to
yeah,
Chelsea.
he may go to Chelsea.
Olivier
Giroud,
the France
the
player,
France international.
that guy.
He
He misses more chances. Going
And
to
then-
my team,
Yeah,
Chelsea.
to complete the move, Chelsea say, we'll give you Michy Batshuayi. So
To Dortmund?
So Michy Batshuayi to Dortmund,
Yeah.
Olivier Giroud to Chelsea.
So it's like a
Aubameyang to Arsenal.
merry-go-round.
They'll try
Yeah.
this
If
transition.
one player moves, everybody will move.
Yes.
And the reason why they are doing this is everybody wants a backup striker, you know. So nobody wants to release their backup striker and not have a backup striker. That's exactly what's going on. And yeah, last night, Arsene Wenger all but admitted that yes, Giroud will be going. Batshuayi will also be wearing this shirt now,
Yeah.
Dortmund shirt.
shirt.
Because so today he will not be playing for Chelsea, we understand. And then the cycle goes on and on.
We want to start the countdown from like right about
Right
now.
now,
right
So
about
we've
now.
got a wrap on the Aubameyang move. We want to listen to it. We'll
Yeah.
come back.
Sure.
The clock is certainly ticking. Now, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, will he become an Arsenal player today? The club have reached an agreement in principle with Dortmund for the striker, worth around £60 million. The transfer can only formally be approved once paperwork is signed between both clubs. We understand the deal has yet to be signed off. The German transfer window closes at 5 p.m. UK time tomorrow. That's 6 hours before it closes here. So work to be done to get this one over the line. There was reports of him having to be at court yesterday, but missing that because of flu. Will that affect any medical and other deals still to Aubameyang? Will he be an Arsenal player today? Will it go right the way down to the wire? What is there? 1 day, 12 hours, 58 minutes and 5 seconds less. Remember that German transfer window, though, shuts 5 hours earlier.
Manchester City's new record signing has wasted no time in introducing himself. Aymeric Laporte was training with his new teammates just 2 hours after his £57.1 million transfer was confirmed, and he's ready to impress his new manager.
He's a young player, so 23, 24 years old. He's left foot, central defender. Played since young age in the Liga, so in the bigger stages. He's strong in the air, is fast, good quality with the pass. So delighted and happy and grateful for what the club has done.
But Pep Guardiola was less than happy about the news that Leroy Sané is set to be out for 6 to 7 weeks with his ankle injury. As a result, reports are now gathering pace that City could be set for a late deal for Riyad Mahrez, and it's not being completely ruled out.
But I don't know if I don't think so. But in football, everything can happen. In terms of the people stay, maybe he's going to leave, but 95, 99%, nothing is going to happen.
Eliakim Mangala could be one of those players leaving, with Newcastle interested. Laporte's arrival on a 5-year contract has only increased speculation, but his only concern will be settling at his new club in a new league and a new country.
The Liverpool striker had been linked with Inter Milan and Newcastle in recent weeks, but we understand he chose West Brom so he could be closer to his family. Not long left now for clubs to get their transfer business over the line, but in the last 24 hours, one of the most talked about deals of the window then was completed. And it won't be the first time that Daniel Sturridge has enjoyed a loan spell. West Brom will hope he can emulate the form he showed when he joined Bolton from Chelsea in January 2011.
Instant success for Bolton.
scored on his debut, didn't he, when he against Wolves, and then scored away to Tottenham.
3 games for Bolton, 3 goals for Bolton. Dan Sturridge keeps up his hot-shot scoring record.
He continued to impress, virtually ended Arsenal's title challenge after scoring again in a 2-1 win. Sturridge scored 8 goals in 12 appearances. And Sturridge's
All right, we're talking the transfer market, the transfer window show later tonight. Gary and George Addo Jr., they will be on that beat, but we thought we will have a little bite of it. I said I have a girly question to ask. When somebody is transferred for like 57 million or whatever it is, how much do they actually get?
Okay, so the 57 million is like the lump sum that you are paying for his services. But it's divided into the weekly wages. So you could just tell me how much you are going to earn at your new club per week. And then if we take out the tax component,
which is crucial,
before
or after
in
tax.
every country.
In every country.
So just to go back and to come forward, Asamoah Gyan's move was big and personally good for him when he went to
China?
To the UAE because it's because it's tax-free there. So almost all the money was for him, $200,000 a week. So that's the
yeah, but don't be too excited. You see, Roland, hold on, relax.
But in England, they take like 50%
so,
of the tax.
Yeah, like Alexis Sanchez was taking like 120,000 before tax. It's 40% off. Yeah. So when you get your 120,000, 40% off going to.
No, but that's in England. But
that's in England.
In some havens like China,
so
UAE,
that's the point.
That's free money.
Free money.
Like free money.
To 120, 120 in that.
Another thing. Why is this kind of hype? Because the transfer window, that conversation, it's such a big deal. Why don't we have a similar situation with our own league?
Okay, so it's just a question of information.
That's all.
The few times, so the way it works is this. Clubs have to be open with their information. So yes, they have.
Saying that we sign Mamavi for this.
Allow
allow
the journalists to be with them.
Because even in CNN will tell you they signed maybe Gary for $1 million a year.
You don't have to go for even in places like South Africa and Egypt. The transfer window is huge.
Even for broadcasters,
it's huge because the clubs are just open to information and you can get basic information about the player. So if Joy Football Club say that, oh, we have a player for sale called Mamavi, she's a striker, she's available to the highest bidder. The information is there. Everybody knows that Mamavi is worth £1 million. So then we can talk about it. Then we can speculate. And then it creates the buzz. But here in Ghana, usually, even when you call the club, they don't even want to tell you. You don't even know how much the player earns a week.
It's difficult.
But if they were doing that, how good would that be?
It would be excellent.
Whether positive or negative on the football and the buzz around it.
It would be very positive because the players get to now know, or the fans get to know the players.
A player for 80,000 Ghana cedis.
No, but you see, it doesn't matter. You start from a point. But really, we have some very good, lucrative deals. I mean, you think about it in Ghanaian context. Players moving to Aduana Stars, moving to Kumasi,
player will get 100,000.
100,000. Moving into Hartsville. If we can put all of these things out, make the information available, the media will get on it. Tonight, you will see
and the public too will feed on it.
And then the hype.
You see,
that's why you go to the stadium.
You see,
people go to the stadium because they know
that this guy was bought for this. Let me go and
I
see
want to see. That's the point.
You see,
but let's talk the football. Okay. Now we're talking the Ghanaian players, we're talking the foreign players. Let's start with the foreign players. As perhaps Mamavi will deal with the Ghanaian transfers, etc. How good are these individuals? Because we know it's a World Cup here, and so that's why we're having these pre-World Cup transfers. How good are these players, and what impact will they be at the clubs they're going? Let me start with you, Gary.
Okay, Gary.
Yeah. How good are these players?
Like for example, let's take team by team,
move
by move. Aubameyang, Oliver Giroud.
So players move for different reasons. In Aubameyang's case, it's one reason why a high-profile player like him will move. His relationship with his club has become untenable. They are not friends. He's very good in each of the last 4 or 5 seasons. He scored more than 25 goals. So realistically, you'd wonder why you would sell such a player. But they're having, let's say, personal issues, with the club. So he wants
suspended a couple of times and not happy.
He scores, nobody celebrates with him.
Yeah, maybe, because at a point, Ronaldo was complaining about that in the last 6 months, that he didn't feel at home at Real Madrid. I mean, and for even somebody like Ronaldo, as big as he is, can you believe that they are still booing him because he has a bad day? So a player can decide that I don't feel wanted at this club, so I'm moving. That's one reason. So if Ronaldo moves to, say, Manchester United, of course we know what he brings to the table. So he's very good. Now, some of these other players who are coming, like Mkhitaryan moving from Manchester United to Arsenal, he's moving from Manchester United because he's out of favor at Manchester United, okay? He's a very good player, but it's, for some reason, it's just not
clicking. And the opposite is Sanchez was going to be out of contract. Arsenal know if we wait till the end of the season, we can cash in. So let's find a way. Who is ready? Man City come around. They're not too interested at the point. Manchester United, we've got the big bucks.
And it's 6 months down the lane. Otherwise, you lose out.
Yes, you lose out. And in all of this, Gary would note that the agents are doing a lot of work in there. It's not because, I'm sorry, but they have to be satisfied before they allow the move to go through.
Satisfied in what? Their percentage?
Their 10%, yes. Hey, so agents have become,
don't joke,
one of the most influential factors in the transfer. I mean, it's become so serious that Sir Alex Ferguson says agents have become the scourge of the game.
Yeah. No, wait. So you mean that while they do the boardroom activities, they also command higher percentages of the transfer fees?
Yes. So they put all sorts of clauses in there. So for example, normally you know that when you are doing you're having any kind of deal, it's just 10% on the surface. But now agents will say, if Roland Walker, my player, scores 10 goals,
you do this.
You pay me an additional 2%. If he scores 20 goals,
that's
2%.
betting, isn't
that's
it?
That's the point. So he will say, if he wins World Player of the Year,
if he wins,
you give me this amount of money.
So the bonus you give him, you give me a certain percentage too?
Yes.
Okay. That's how come you hear Alexis Sanchez is moving to Manchester United. Oh yes, we're waiting, and it takes about 3 weeks. You're like, what are they doing? The nitty-gritties, you know, and that's why tonight's show, it's even more important that you watch us, because we'll be speaking to those journalists who are very, very close there, where the action is taking place.
It's likely we'll get an agent.
We have Ghanaian journalists who are closer to these.
Close, we have agents. But you know, when we're talking about Dede Ayew, we're speaking directly to Dede Ayew's agents.
Has he got a local agent? Like a Ghanaian agent?
Yes,
he's got a fantastic team.
So all the major players
all the major players.
So like David Beckham has an agent in France. He's got an agent in the UK. He's got an agent in the US. So Andre Ayew, Asamoah Gyan, when he was in England, he had somebody who did his work here in Ghana, and then somebody who did it in the UK as well.
And all these people, you have to sort them out.
Oh, yes. They'll make sure. If they will make sure they are sorted out. They'll make sure they're sorted out. They make sure everything is, right in there. And so it's interesting. I mean, and it's so interesting, especially when we're doing this. We're running down. We're talking about the real-time moves, everything that is going through at the time. We know that you might move, he might not move, but it immediately happens, and the analysis comes through. We speak to journalists who are right there to tell us, to give us a feel, and
so
also everybody has a chance. You know, the interactive. We're going to be highly interactive. Phone calls, Skype calls, everything there is. You are part of the show, so you have to talk to us.
What should they get? Popcorn? What? What's coming? Boyfriend, girlfriend, like what?
Oh no, sit me on your sofa. Water, get water, cold water, hot water. Put your legs in water. Some coffee. Some coffee.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you. We'll meet you here at 9 p.m. Don't miss it. Not for anything. This two combination killer. All right. So you've got to stay tuned.